You are about to witness history in the making.
What's up, everyone? It's episode 23 of the Pop Culture Gamers podcast. The date today is the 9th of September, and I'm here, as always, with Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hello there, how are we?
Not too bad. How are you?
Going back to work tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it.
No, that's very true. That's very true. I had exactly the same thing, but at the other end of the 6 weeks summer holidays for schools, to be honest, because I was at the first 2 weeks off.
Yeah, so it's just, it's one of those things we have to deal with, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is.
Mm. So what have you been doing?
So, me and Mrs. we had a wedding anniversary and took a few days away.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. Very posh and snazzy as it was. Yeah, really peaceful in the New Forest. A hotel in the middle of nowhere. It looks like a castle. It's quite impressive.
Mm.
So I had a few days there. We came back actually on the Wednesday, and that was the day after Destiny Forsaken was released. So
you didn't get to play it from launch?
Well, no. Do you know what? I'm glad I didn't, because a few people had issues getting on. All the servers were probably in overload at the time, and everyone was downloading the patch and everything else, but it was okay because I got on Wednesday evening, which we can talk about a bit later. I got my boy down at the moment, one of my lads down at the moment, so I took him to my favourite restaurant in Bournemouth.
Very nice.
And yeah, had a bit of a time there. I went round HMV because we were going to go to the cinema, but there's nothing really on to watch, and we were going to see the Meg, but we thought, no, okay, not up for it. So I thought, isn't HMV closing down in my area? But I wasn't too sure. So I went and found it out. And just had a bit of a wander around, look at the Blu-rays, the 4K, the vinyl.
Mm.
Not intending to pick anything up, of course.
But you did.
And then I walked out with the soundtrack to Star Trek Discovery.
Very nice. I saw your pictures.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. And didn't expect to do that, but that was all right, actually, because I've been meaning to join the HMV. They got like a point system for when you buy vinyl. You get double points on vinyl, more than most stuff anyway. So, I will probably go there again, because they had quite a lot in there. As much as you got all the DVDs, which I think these days, DVDs, really, are people still buying them? I thought people would normally actually probably charge, it's like we've gone ahead a bit more in that industry and how it all works. And there was really, they did have stacks, they did have 2 or 3 aisles of DVDs, box sets and all sorts. So,
well, it's funny you should say that, but to be honest, I know a lot of people who actually buy DVDs rather than Blu-rays because A, they're cheaper, and B, they reckon that they can't tell the difference. I think that they must be looking in the opposite direction while being blindfolded, but, that's a different matter entirely.
Yeah.
It's just, there is still a big market for DVDs, which when you consider that we're actually now, we've moved on from, DVD to Blu-ray to
that's what
ultra high def.
Yeah. That's what...
It's, 2 generations ago, it doesn't make sense for people to be buying DVDs, but obviously people still are.
They don't, people that obviously trade them off when they sort of do that changeover with certain. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got 2 trays of DVDs sitting behind me.
Yeah. And
there's no point throwing them to see it, because you get a penny for them probably.
Yes.
So you might as well keep them. But then I was seeing some big box sets in there and stuff like that. There was like the X-Files, whole complete seasons.
Yeah.
One box set, and that was about 40 quid for the DVD box set.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'd rather have the Blu-ray version of that,
Yeah.
But saying that I've been holding back on quite a few films that I do have digitally, and I don't have the actual, believe it or not, I don't have many John Carpenter movies on Blu-ray. And I've only got probably 2 or 3. But Studio Canal, which is the company one of the big companies for releasing Blu-rays in this country, in October, they're bringing out all these big movies in 4K Ultra HD.
Yeah.
So I've already pre-ordered The Fog, and Halloween I haven't done it. That'll be on Zavvi, so that's coming out in October as well. And so is Escape from New York. So there's a few there that I will be doing that transitional period again.
Yeah.
With some of my favourite movies. So yeah, all good. That's about it, really. Not a lot going on as much as, well, there is. I've been playing Destiny like you wouldn't believe.
No, I would believe. I know what you're like when it comes to Destiny.
Yeah, it is. I know we're going to a bit more later on, but yeah, I've just really been enjoying that. Obviously, I think when we talk about later, the way I decided to go and you followed suit was the best route, I feel personally.
Actually, I don't think it's made any difference other than I've delayed doing the actual campaign a little bit longer because the drops aren't dropping. They're only dropping at 500.
Well, I'm getting 510, 511.
I suppose you're talking about the actual quest steps, so aren't you, the end of those rather than anything else?
Oh, yeah.
But that is a campaign now. But we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah. No, yeah. So we'll talk about that as well and how we're progressing with it. And all the news out there about Spider-Man and Puddlegate, you'll be able to confirm or deny that again properly?
I'll be able to give an update on that, seeing as that I have been playing that.
As much as I do want to play it, I'm gonna hold off. And I think Tomb Raider's out next week, isn't it?
It is.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, it's a crazy season again.
And I think, to be honest, I'm going to stick with Destiny. I think I'm going to get the campaign done, at least get that out of the way first.
Okay, so folks, it's going to be me doing the reviews of the new games that are coming out.
Except for Tomb Raider, because you're not going to get that, are you?
I probably will.
But you haven't played the last one yet. It's unreal. So? Exactly. The story.
It's not exactly as if any of the Tomb Raiders have really fed off the last one, is it?
Well, I personally, my view is that you've got to play the one before the other. I mean, I won't be playing the new Assassin's Creed. I've got the other one to play yet, Anyway, I'm not going to argue. I've got a glass of wine here, so I'll let you chat away. So how's your week been anyway?
My week, finally I've had news about when I'm moving jobs.
Oh, okay. So
I was offered a job 3 months ago, basically, more or less, working for the Adult Safeguarding Board on a secondment for 18 months. And my employer obviously, doesn't want to let me go until I've actually replaced me in my role. So because it's not me leaving the job and technically I would go back, they've said I can go when they have someone coming into my place, which is, why it's taking so long. So it'll take about 4 months by the time I actually start. But I do have a start date of the 1st of October, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, good. Is it a new offices, new build, new area? Is it completely?
It's the same campus because it's County Hall.
Right.
But it's what's known as North Block, and I'm in South Block, so it's a different building entirely. But yeah, evidently I'm going to have my own office and all of that sort of stuff, so quite looking forward to it, to be honest. Working with a new team. Well, it's a new team, but it's a team that I've worked with for quite some time as well. So yeah, it should be good. Should be good. We do have a question around all of that, about what we do outside later on. So I'll leave any other further talk about it until later on and we can answer it in part of the question. So other than that, it's my son's first week at secondary school this week as well. So he's made the jump to secondary. Can't believe how quickly that time has actually gone.
He'll be doing his exams as quick as you blink an eye now, you know that.
Yeah, well, no doubt, to be quite honest. So, yeah, it's getting used to him being in a new school, all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's all change at the moment. But other than that, nothing particularly exciting has been going on, to be honest. It's just, steady away. It's that sort of quiet time of the year where not a lot does actually happen. Next month, obviously, I've got the Podcasting 101 event in Edinburgh.
Yes, you have. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so quite looking forward to that. And I noticed that we had a tweet or two going out earlier on about that as well. So from the company that organises the event. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to going up there. But I'm only going to go up on the day and back So, because I've just started my new job, so I'll take the afternoon off and then just go up and then be back on the same day. So it's going to be a long, long trip.
Well, I'm surprised you don't probably stay over somewhere, to be honest.
Well, I could do with not using all of my annual leave. And to be honest, it's only 3 hours.
Oh, okay, it's not too bad then.
You know, because it's 200 miles to Edinburgh from where I am. So it's not, you know, it's not that far to, you know, I did think, shall I, you know, actually just stop in a hotel? But then I thought, well, by the time I've paid for that, you know, I could, you know, just as easily just drive home that day and then just, you know, take a bit of flexi in the morning and go into work a bit later, that sort of thing. You know, because obviously we operate a flexi leave system where I work. So, you know, you work the time and then you can take, you know, the time off sort of thing.
Okay.
So, yeah, so, you know, I thought I might as well do that rather than fork out on a hotel and whatever, because, you know, hotels were like 60, 70 quid. You know, so rather than fork out on that, you know, and also I get to come home. So, why not?
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, that's my week. Nothing very exciting at all, to be quite honest with you. So, shall we go on to gaming this week?
Yeah, why don't we?
No longer a dream, but a reality.
Okay, so I don't have any news this week, do you?
Gaming wise, no, I think we'll have the releases later. Other than that, I think everything's very quiet. I think a lot of, games are starting to come out, so we'll be hearing a bit more about what people think of them. I haven't seen many reviews for Forsaken because they're, again, typically ongoing reviews being an online game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can't think, nothing really hits the point this week.
No, I mean, one thing I would say is obviously last week we had Puddlegate with Spider-Man, and evidently Sony has come out and said actually Spider-Man's had a graphical update, not a downgrade. So I don't know how that works. A lot of it could all relate to capture cards or, you know, how that information's being stored. It could be whether or not HDR was on or off. Because some, you know, about the level of detail in the picture, I'm not on about the puddles because quite clearly they weren't there in one of the pictures, or not to the same extent. But to be quite honest, it's puddles on the ground. Who cares? As long as it looks really good, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So, this week, in terms of new releases, do you want to do those?
Okie doke. So, on the 11th of this month, which is Tuesday, I think, we have NBA 2K19 on all formats from 2K. On the 14th, we have Black Clover Quartet Nights on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC from Bandai Namco. We have Blind on PSVR. Brawlout on the PlayStation 4. We have NHL 19, PS4 and Xbox One. Nintendo Labo have a new vehicle kit coming out. I can hear everyone screaming, looking forward to getting that. And of course, the last thing with the big game is going to be Shadow of the Tomb Raider on all formats from Square Enix.
You know, I can't help but hear that tone of sarcasm that was in your comment about Labo.
Really? No.
Really. I could hear it. I could hear it stitched into the underside of the words that you were saying there. We know that you don't like the Switch, but it is for the whole family. It's not just for kids.
Yeah, I'm sure there's loads of dads and mums that build cardboard bits and bobs and play with those, I'm sure.
Well, we do have some listeners who have actually enjoyed it. I mean, personally, I think it's a terrible idea because cardboard and children never lasts 5 minutes, but evidently part of all of this is to do with the actual building of the Labo.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, if it's making money, then good on them, you know.
Yeah, but no, what I mean is, in terms of the Labo thing, the templates that you get are only the start of it, and you can actually design your own templates and that sort of thing and program in on the Labo software. So that's where it really does come into its own. But in terms of, you know, the things that they actually give you to produce, I can't really see them lasting the way that a plastic peripheral would.
If they were plastic cutouts, you'd pop out, it'd be different.
Yes.
But then again, it is what it is. Some people quite enjoy it. I've seen some videos and I've seen some of them there. So good on them. If that's what floats your boat with cardboard, good on, you know.
Well, the idea is as well that kids can actually decorate them as well.
Yeah, they can get the old Blue Peter paints out, can't they?
Yeah, why not? Okay, so the charts for this week then. At number 5, we've got Yakuza Kiwami. Is it? Kiwami. Can't pronounce it. 2. So that's number 5. Number 4 down from 3 is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So that seems to be ebbing its way out of the charts now. At number 3, up from number 4, is GTA 5. Straight in at number 2, we have Pro Evolution Soccer 2019. And at number 1 for the second week, we have F1 2018.
No, not the football.
No, not FIFA. As my eyes had read when I didn't have my glasses on last time. Because the text is incredibly small because I've cut and pasted it in.
I know, I can just about read it from my eyes, to be honest. But anyway.
Yeah. So, we did the games with Gold and put the teeth in, PlayStation Plus last week. Mm-hmm. So we'll just go straight into Steve's Destiny show.
No, yeah, well, let's start with Spider-Man first because, we're both going to talk about Destiny. So, do you want to do Spider-Man off the bat?
Okay, fair enough. And then everybody who doesn't want to hear Spider-Man can skip to the next section.
Yeah.
So, Spider-Man. So, fresh off the back of all of that so-called Puddlegate stuff of the week before, we actually have the full formal release of the Spider-Man game.
I do have a question for you before you start, because...
Go on in.
When you installed it with the disc, or was yours just a pure download?
Digital.
How long did it take to download? Because I've been hearing stories. It's been taking a bit of a time from disc even it's been taking an hour or two. So I'm hearing.
Well, I mean, I installed it the day before it was due for release. So I don't know whether or not you've actually had a digital purchase from Sony that's been a pre-order.
Yeah, because you pre-download it, don't you?
Yeah, you can pre-download it 2 days beforehand, and it has a clock timer on there as well.
That's right.
So it says when you can actually play it, and you can literally click on it, and it'll come up on the screen with a countdown, and as soon as that countdown goes to 0, it launches the game. Because I tried that with Elite Dangerous, to be honest, when that was released there. So, like I said, I bought the digital version of it, and it's somewhere in the region of about 40 or 50 gigabytes from what I can remember. And it took about 3 or 4 hours.
It's impressive. Well, it's a long time.
It is.
Because most games can... I mean, I don't know... Obviously, you wouldn't know this because if you got it after the pre-order, then it might have started playing it after the first hour, maybe. Possibly while it was still downloading in the background, I don't know. But so anyway, so what was your thoughts?
Well, if I just say first off, a lot of the critics have been giving this about a 7 out of 10.
Oh, that's a bit low.
Yeah, it is, especially considering how much hype this has got, because I'm sure that Spider-Man as a game is going into competition with Destiny for the most hype game of the beginning of September, to be honest. But the game itself, it looks absolutely beautiful and really shows up what the Pro can do. The level of detail, like in the Spider-Man costumes, because there's more than one, you can see such minute little details in there.
Yeah.
New York City is really nicely rendered and it feels alive. There's a lot of things going on. You can be web swinging from one mission to another, and then a crime will be going on that you can go and see to. You'll just be passing one. Now, in terms of the web swinging, that is just absolutely fantastic. It really gives you that feeling like you're swinging through.
Is it on triggers, or how do you do that with the controls?
It's all done just by holding the right stick, the right trigger, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So once you've jumped up into the air, because you have to jump to start swinging, because otherwise you're just firing web. But you jump and then he'll start to swing, and then you can either press, you press the jump button when, you at the point where you want to jump to do the next swing, and then just keep the R2 button down, and then he'll fire the next web when he's, done a jump. Other than that, you can swing back and forth forever on one, web shot if you want to, or I think if you're actually pushing forward, he'll automatically jump when he gets to the top of the swing and then shoot another web. So, it depends upon how you're actually doing it, to be honest, in terms of what you're doing with your stick in the direction that you're pushing it.
So I remember the last Spider-Man game I played.
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad, actually, for swinging from building to building.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly. And I quite enjoyed it as well, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I remember the last, because that was the Amazing Spider-Man, wasn't it? And that was really enjoyable. But this is so much better because the city looks a lot better as well.
Is it busy?
Yes. There's traffic all over the place. There's people walking all over. When you're just going through the city, if you're on the street level, you can hear people talking and that sort of stuff.
How's the machine coping with the game? Because I'm hearing some people saying that they're starting to hear the engines of a runway again with the PlayStation kicking in, the way it does. No,
had no problems with it at all. But no, it just runs really nicely. So, maybe some people, because obviously one of the things that we know about the PlayStation Pro is it's prone to get a lot of dust sucked in. So if your PlayStation's starting to do that, it might be because there's dust in there and it's clogging up the fan a little bit and so having to work a bit harder. That could be the reason why, but mine's not making a massive noise. So when you're actually swinging along, you've also got like a parkour sort of element to the game as well.
Yeah.
A bit like Assassin's Creed. Again, if you're holding the right stick and you accidentally swing into a building, you'll either start running up the building, running across the building, or just climbing up it.
Yeah.
So, that element of it's not too bad as well. And, if you miss time jumps or whatever, you will just land. You won't die or anything like that. You might crack the concrete, but you're not going to die or anything bad. So, that's quite reassuring when you're actually swinging, but you can really build up speed. And when you're playing some of the missions, which are chase missions, then you do actually need to get to be able to control that swinging really quite quickly, because, I was going into chase missions probably within the first half an hour, and I was just getting used to doing that whole speeding up when you're going along, because when you're at the apogee of your swing, you've got to jump and then do a bit of a dive so you gain extra speed before you actually fire your weapons.
Yeah.
And there's nothing quite like this. It could be absolutely fantastic in VR. You fire your web, just before you hit the ground, and then you start to swing, and then you literally, just like the films, you go and swing in between the cars, and stuff like that. If you angle it right, you can swing between the cars just like in the movie. So that's really good fun, to be honest. I've quite enjoyed just having a bit of a swing around New York.
Are you a swinger now, eh?
yeah, in a Spider-Man sort of perspective. So yeah, it's just swinging around New York. Why not? It's, like I said, really nicely rendered. Obviously the Central Park right in the middle, which is absolutely massive. Takes ages to get around that, but you can actually swing through there, firing webs between trees in the area as well. But any obstacles that get in your way, like if you land on a rooftop, then you just parkour automatically over. It's a bit like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
From that sort of perspective. One thing I would say in terms of the controls is I've felt that sometimes they're a bit like Assassin's Creed. They're a little bit clumsy. So, for example, you might want to run up a wall and then stop to do something like climb through a grate or whatever that's on the side of the building, but you'll overshoot it and then go up to the top and then suddenly jump off it before you actually know what you've done. Do you know what I mean? So it's not the best in terms of the controls. I think they could have done a little bit more refinement to, some of the areas, but generally speaking, it plays really well. Combat-wise, the game plays much more like Batman Arkham Knight. Okay. So it's a bit of this combination between Batman and Assassin's Creed. Unfortunately for the game, what I would say is that the combat isn't as slick as as a Batman was. So, you know, if you remember playing the Batman games, you could get into a bit of a rhythm with your fingers, you know, when you were playing it, so that you could do it right. I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And it all flowed. It feels a little bit more, well, sometimes serendipitous, to be quite honest with you, about some of the combat elements of it, or at least a little bit, you know, somewhat clunky in comparison. So the combat's not the best, but it's okay, but it just takes more mastery than the Batman games actually did from that sort of perspective. Story-wise, the story's really good. You know, I'm enjoying all of that because you're actually Dr. Octopus's assistant, you know, Dr. Octavius, when you first start the game. That sort of aspect of it's really interesting. And what has surprised me is the story with Peter Parker is really quite enjoyable as well. It's another aspect of the game, and it gives you more of an insight into the modern Peter Parker rather than the Peter Parker that I grew up with. Well,
the one you grew up with, which would be in the cartoon, wouldn't it?
No, the normal comic.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, the story is he's split with Mary Jane. And now they're sort of like rekindling the romance sort of thing. But there's all of him trying to balance losing his apartment and all of this, that and the other, not being able to pay his bills, being rather tardy because he's doing all of the Spider-Man stuff instead of the stuff that he should be doing in his real life. So there's all of that sort of element to the story, which makes it a lot more interesting as well. And then obviously all of the bad guys who you're actually facing as well. And there's this overarching story because you start off by taking down Kingpin, and then that opens up to another sort of like lot of mobsters coming into New York to take over New York.
Yeah.
And that's what the story's all about. So other than the main story, there are loads and loads of side quests and missions. I mean, you've got all of Manhattan to, you know, swing around, basically. And much like the Leaps of Faith on Assassin's Creed, you actually have instead like radio masts. So these are all police masts.
Yeah.
And what they do is to open up an area so that you can actually see the area, because it's all, you know, fuzzed out in terms of your map.
Yeah.
To open up the area, you have to bring back online these police masts, which your contact in the police has asked you to do. So you have to go to each one and then basically solve a small puzzle, which isn't very difficult, to be honest.
They're not like in Mass Effect then, are they? You know, it's those sort of puzzles.
No, it's not Sudoku.
That's good then.
No, they're just basic puzzles.
Yeah, okay.
That was a fraudulent slip there, wasn't it? They're just basic puzzles, normally just like circuits and that sort of thing. Or in terms of the masts, they're actually frequencies. So you have to match the frequency of the mast to be able to link in with the main centre and whatever. And then that then lights up the area. You can see all of the detail, and you can see where things like the collectibles that are there. So, for example, your backpack locations, because you have backpacks all over New York.
Yeah.
There is Oscorp Labs, which have little side missions in there, and lots of other things as well that are going on, like crimes and that sort of stuff. So, and also, because obviously you're a photographer, there is an aspect of taking photographs of key places in New York, which if you know your way around New York, you'll know where to go. Otherwise, these are all showed on the map as well. And you can just tick them off because it gives you a counter of how many out of how many you've done. So eventually, you know, you keep going, you're going to get them all done off. In terms of showing where all of these objectives are, when you're between missions, you can press the R3 button on your controller, and then that will just for a moment show where everything is. And if you look at something, it'll tell you how far away it is. You can head there, and you can just keep pressing R3, and it'll stay there for a little while you're swinging along, towards that location. But once you actually, it doesn't stay there on the map all the time. I wish it did actually, because it would make it a little bit easier sometimes. Because sometimes you land in a place and you think, oh, where was that exactly? Like the backpacks, for example, sometimes they're a bit hidden round a corner or, under something or whatever. So there's lots of it, lots of the game to do. There's an RPG sort of element to it as well. So by unlocking unlocking things like backpacks and whatever, you unlock tokens, and then those tokens can be used to pay for your upgrades to your suit or new suits or whatever, or equipment.
Do you get the Avengers Infinity suit?
Yes, the Iron Spider suit. Yes, I did. That was the first one I unlocked, to be honest.
That looks
and I've played most of the game with that as well.
Yeah.
So in terms of the suits, every suit has its own power. A special ability. So, like, for example, the Iron Spider suit gives you all of those extra legs, which you can, use for stuff. So, but what you can do is take the power module and put it into another suit, and you can have up to 3 modules in each one. So, for example, there is the Spider-Man Noir suit, and that one allows you to do takedowns of enemies quietly, even though they might be stood next to another enemy.
Okay.
Because if you do a takedown in a general area, say like 4 or 5 meters away from another enemy, then they'll hear it. But if you're wearing the Spider-Man Noir suit, they won't hear it. And you can take the things off that suit which make it quiet and put it onto another suit. So you can then tailor your suits to meet the requirements of the mission that you're actually doing.
Yeah.
Which is quite a neat way of doing it. There are loads of suits to unlock as well. One will do a hollow projection of Spider-Man. There's a bulletproof suit. So if you keep forgetting to jump out of the way when somebody fires at you, then just put your bulletproof suit on, and then you'll be fine.
Oh, okay, so is that like a cheat or not, would you say? Or
No, it's deliberately built into the game. So, that's really, it's a nice idea actually, because it allows you to tailor everything to what you want, your suit to be like. And you can have whichever look that you actually want. The other thing as well as the upgrades of the suits, you can also upgrade your skills. So you unlock skill points as you level up, because your character, as you progress through missions, gains XP. That XP then gets translated into the points, which then go, to your level. When you break a new level, then you get 1 skill point, and then you can buy new things that you're able to do. And also by doing some of the side quests as well, you can also unlock new gadgets. Because you collect parts so that you can actually build the gadgets, and then you can upgrade them by collecting more parts as well. So there's loads and loads of variety in the game.
Right.
So, what if you did everything in New York? You'd be able to unlock absolutely everything in the game, and you'd have all of the powers that you could possibly want, to be honest.
That's cool.
I mentioned about the movement and that, and my only real issue with it is the fighting. I just think that it's just not quite as polished. It should have been a bit more like Batman. And also just some of the movements, they're a little bit clunky when you're running up walls and that, and you want to stop. That might be just me though, but I just feel they're a bit clunky.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's a really good game. Like I said, if you've got a Pro, you like Spider-Man, this really is a no-brainer. If you don't like the Assassin's Creed and the Batman sort of games, it might be an idea to steer clear, because I don't think that this is going to particularly offer you anything that you're going to enjoy.
Right.
Because it's not going to be the right game for you. In terms of replayability, I'm not really sure what the replayability will be on this game, because I think once you've done it, you'll have done it.
Now, there are, with the guys with the pre-order, you did get a couple of extra story missions, didn't you?
Yeah.
But other than that, is there plans for DLC at all, for extra missions and stuff?
Yes, there is. There's DLC coming out as well. So I've got the one with the season pass.
Right. Was that expensive? Does that come?
It wasn't. It wasn't much more.
No.
So, but yeah, I got the season pass version because I thought that's the version that I actually want.
Okay. So we'll see you completing this game, no problem.
Yes, I'll be completing it.
Yeah. What about how you're playing it? With is there like an easy mode, or do we have a hard mode?
No, just normal.
Because apparently it's an easy set of trophies to get, so I'm hearing. But you'll be able to tell me that.
I'm pretty sure it's probably the type of thing that you'll be able to easily unlock all of the trophies with it.
As you,
I think it's
as you play through the duration of the game, yeah.
Yeah, the trophies seem to drop in that sort of way. I haven't actually gone through the trophy list, to be honest.
Well, you don't really do that anyway, because it could spoil the story, couldn't it?
Well, unless they've done hidden trophies.
Yeah.
But I disagree with hidden trophies anyway. I think if you're looking at the list, you want to actually know what the trophies are, otherwise you wouldn't be looking at the list. But no, I think you'll probably unlock most of these trophies by actually playing the game. One thing I forgot to mention, and I haven't noticed it actually saying this anywhere, but when you go into an area to attack, say like you go to one of Fisk's places to take out his bad guys, you actually get bonus points for doing certain actions to take them out. So it might be, for example, web 3 enemies to a wall and silently take down 3 enemies.
Right.
And if you do that, then you get, bonus XP or whatever. But I've not actually seen it tell you what the objective is until after you've done that mission, which seems ludicrous to me. I might just be missing it. It might be on the map. I haven't looked. But, it's the type of thing I'd have thought I would have noticed when I was using the map. But maybe not. I might just have been having a moment. Because to be honest, most of the time I don't use the map. I actually use the pressing the R3 and looking around to see what's near. And then I'll just go to the nearest thing that I can see.
Yeah. There's a photo mode apparently as well.
Yes, there is.
Is that fun?
Yeah, the photo mode's actually quite good. I've taken a couple of photos with it. What I'll do is I'll stick them on the Facebook page. I'll put them on Twitter or something like that so you can have a look. But there's a couple of different versions. Well, there's three elements to photo mode. You can either have a free roam version, so it starts off with wherever you actually press the button from, and then you can move the camera wherever. You can go to the opposite side of Manhattan if you want on that one. There's orbital mode, where you can only move around Spider-Man from certain directions, and you can't look anywhere else. It's always sort of facing him. And then the other mode is selfie mode, so you can move Spider-Man about a little bit in terms of him, but he's taking a selfie.
All right.
So, and that's great fun because if you press the button at the right time, you can get him in some really good action poses or, like diving through the air and that sort of thing.
As if you're Peter Parker taking a photograph of him.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's good. That's actually quite a nice little addition, but I think that came with the day one patch for the game. So, yeah, overall, I would say this game was worth it, especially if you like sort of like story action-based games with a bit of an RPG in there as well.
Oh, cool. And you'll have to let us know when you go. Apparently you can play as Mary Jane as well at some point in the game. So
yes. Well, I've already done that as well.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah, because she's sort of like a journalist, and you go into a museum, a business, displaying some of Fisk's collection, and you have to sneak about and that sort of thing as well. But then you soon become Spider-Man in that same scenario and, do other stuff. But that's one of the earlier story missions.
Oh, okay. Good.
So, Destiny 2.
Yes, The Forsaken.
Yeah, I'm going to hand over to you now. Because this is where you're going to shine, isn't it? Because you're going to go through everything that's in there.
Well, we won't get through everything because, as I say, I haven't done everything yet. But I think Bungie have given us what we want, how we wanted Destiny, and they've listened to people's questions, they've listened to moaning, and I think they've delivered a game now that is top notch. Personally, that's how I feel. I don't make yourself.
I do think that they've invested a lot in this, to be honest. They've changed the game drastically.
God, yeah. I mean, I've got a few points. So obviously we won't go into the story too much at the moment because I've only just started it, and I think have you started the story now? Actually,
yeah, started the story.
You've done a couple of missions.
Yeah.
So as we've all seen the trailers. So this is described as a Western revenge storyline. And the main story we've taken for the Forsaken expansion takes us back to the Reef, which I loved playing on the Reef. That was a great part of the original game.
Yeah, the Prison of Elders.
Yeah, and we have early on in the game, there's a massive breakout, and we have to team up with Cade 6 to hunt down the faction, the rogue faction known as the Scorn. And
so for those of you who don't know who Cade 6 is, he's played by Nathan Fillion, and he's the robot who has the hood.
He's your wisecrack. He's the wisecracking guy.
Yeah, he's the hunter. He's the cool dude.
So from that point of view, yeah. Now, I was listening to a few other podcasts that I listened to, and I was going down this route of saying, yeah, instead of just like I've done before, I'll dive into the storyline, because if I do that, then all the big drops I will be getting will be at a certain point that your character level will be. So hence that what I decided to do was to leave the expansion from the Forsaken part of the game away and just go around planets and starting what they've given back to us is a lot of the daily bounties.
Yes.
Which I love doing. It's a nice way to, if you want to just go around and do the bounties in a day, you can go into each planet, do the 3 bounties, cash them in.
Yeah.
Give you some bits and pieces. I was doing that, doing some other bits and pieces, and from Wednesday to Saturday, I was level 500, and at level 50 as well with my character, and that wasn't exactly hard work either. So now with that soft cap at 500,
it was a grind though.
Oh, it was an enjoyable one.
It was, but it was still a grind.
Well, these games are grind anyway, so...
Yeah.
But I feel that it was great to do that, so I started the game at 500. The blue, say, rubbish drops you get from bits and bobs, they're all coming at 500, which I just trade them back in and just dismantle them. The prime drops I'm getting are at the moment at 511, 512.
Mm.
And the weapons, I'm really loving the weapons we've got now, especially the bow. And you get given a bow in probably about 3 missions in. But I actually got one on a prime drop from doing one of the milestones.
Yeah.
And it's good fun. It's another way, instead of using a sniper rifle, you've got the bow to do the same thing.
Yes. And
talking on the weapons, obviously what they decided to do was to rebalance the weapons and the gear. So over the last year, Bungie stated that they've received feedback regarding from the fans saying that they didn't like the way it all handled in the slots they were given. So basically what they've done is now that you can have weapons in different slots. You can run your Guardian with 2 shotguns if you want, or 2 sniper rifles. So you've got all these different ways to put your weapons in. Well, they're given the slots, but they're all spread out between the 3 anyway. So it's a good idea to give you that idea, if you want to do that build for your character.
Mm.
And I think it works really well. There's obviously you got the new random rolls with these weapons and the gear. So if you do get a couple of boots that are identically the same, just check out what the rolls are, because you might want. It's
more like Destiny 1 in that respect.
Exactly, and that's what they wanted to bring us back to that. So I think that's great. I mean, I've got a bow that's got exploding heads on the arrows.
Mm.
That's brilliant. Just one shot and they explode. Great. Obviously, you have to pull back the trigger to get it to go green, which is giving the bow as much pullback as you can.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it. I've also got a pistol that I'm running with, which I'm not normally a pistol type of guy. And this sidearm is hold the trigger and the bullets just fly out. It's like a mini SMG.
Mm.
And I'm just having a load of fun with that, as well as an SMG that I've picked up as well, which I've been using as well. So I've been sort of bouncing between these 3 or 4 weapons at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's just a joy to play. There's so much more you can do. Obviously, you've got the new competitive mode called Gambit, which I haven't tried yet.
No, well, you need a fire team of 4, don't you?
Yeah. I'm not sure, but you might be able to just jump in a team of 4.
Probably.
But I haven't really looked into that yet. The raid is going to be in a couple of weeks, called the Dreaming City. And I think the reason they're giving it such a long time is because it's a bit of a way to get to where you need to do for the Nightfall and also for the raid within the level you're going to be at, which whether it's going to be, 500 and 550 possibly, something like that. So
thinking of the old raids, they're hidden away now, aren't they? They're not on the main screen anymore.
No, I think you have to go to another area to pick one up, so you can still do Leviathan.
Yeah, Leviathan.
Thank you. That's it. Yeah. With your when you look at your character now, you've got some extra bits and pieces for the triggers. So you've got triumphs. Now we usually get triumphs once a year, and you've got these things that you can complete to pick up a T-shirt and other bits and pieces. But they've incorporated it into the game to give you a score.
Yes.
Which I think is quite clever, and that's something else. Yeah. And from there, you could when you get some new ones to unlock, you can just go in there and unlock those. That gives you a total score at the time. You've got collections in the tabs as well. So what you can do is you can go back to the exotics you've already opened up and rebuy one that you might have dismantled.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So you've got your exotics, your weapons, your armour, you've got your vehicles, ghost shells, and flare, which I'm not too sure flare is at the minute. You've got a couple of new vendors in there. You've got obviously the guy for Gambit as well. He's in there, and
Drifter.
He's called the Drifter. He's the rogue light bearer, and Petrovace, and you've got the Spider.
Yes,
and
he's a member of the Forsaken.
Yeah, and he, as much as all these characters and all the other vendors that we know, like Annabelle, they've all got little things for you to do.
Yes,
he has a shed load of weekly and daily missions for you to complete.
Yes.
The list is huge. So I don't think anyone's going to be finished this game pretty quickly. And I think the way it's going to work is you're going to want to play this every day. Do you know what I mean?
To get the most out of it, certainly.
And I certainly will be doing that. It's just a thoroughly good game. Zer at the moment doesn't mean much at the moment. I think he comes in. You don't know where he is this time. He's not shown on the map, so you've got to go for a hunt. But and
he's also back to being a Friday to Sunday character rather than being all week.
Yeah.
And he's not tethered to the Flashpoint location.
And this week he's in the tower, by the way, if anyone's interested.
In the hangar at the back.
That's it.
Up the stairs.
Yeah. So, as much as I've got guns, I've put some guns on that I want to still play with. It gets expensive to build those up.
Yes.
And there's much more. You've got more items that you have to use to upgrade those weapons.
They're discouraging you from upgrading your weapons, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm working on 4 sets of new types of armor at the minute that I've got. And I think I've got 1 or 2 sets complete already. So one was from the Vanguard and from Shaxx. So it's pretty cool. And there's a few other bits and pieces there. And again, remember these have all got random rolls on them. So just be careful at deleting stuff because you've got 2 of something. Have a look and see whether or not it's something else you want to use. The mods are in the game as well. Still, obviously, they're slightly different. I have attached a mod to my bow, but other than that, I haven't really played with the mods too much at the minute. So I just want to keep an eye on what guns and weapons I really want to play with.
And the mods don't update the light level either anymore.
No, they don't. Which is fine because their idea there to modding it for a playstyle more than adding +5 onto that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's everything I wanted in a game in Destiny. You know. How about you? You got any thoughts? More any thoughts? Because you haven't said too much.
Well, no, because I knew that this would be the bit that you'd want to.
No, that's right, Debbie. Yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts and how you feel the game's now going to progress from what we're looking at.
To be honest, it's like a whole new game, but with some of the old levels still left in there. Is the best way I can describe it. You are visiting some very familiar older places as well from Destiny 1.
I'm not going to say what I do know because I was on a chat with some guys where they were playing, and I said, "You're where?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." I'm not going to know when I'm going to get to see that, but yeah, okay. So
they're not doing planets, though, are they? They're doing micro-locations for you to go to.
Yeah, I mean...
So my understanding is.
The Tangled Shore, which is the main location.
Yeah.
Which is where the spider is, and that is quite huge.
But there's an area off that you can't get to because it's closed off, and you've got to do a specific quest to open up that area after you've completed the main story.
Yeah. That might be to do with the raid, though, possibly.
No, it's not.
Oh, well, I can say... Well, I won't say on there which place I do know you go back to. But yeah, it's a place we've had some fun on in the past that you can go back to there. So I don't know how that works, but we'll talk about that later. We won't mention it here.
Oh, I've just remembered actually thinking about, surprises and that. The Spider-Man game has a load of Easter eggs in as well. As well as a very common Easter egg that's in almost every Marvel movie.
Yeah, and I was just discussing that last night, funnily enough, as I was watching Avengers Infinity.
What I want to know is how did Stan Lee actually get from speaking to the Guardians? Because if you remember on, was it Thor Ragnarok, he was talking to a bunch of aliens in a spacesuit, do you remember?
It doesn't matter.
How did he get back to Earth?
He's Stan Lee, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, drew himself a spaceship.
But yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying this game. And if anybody wants to get up there and try Gambit, give me a shout, because I'd like to give that a go at some point.
Well, I want to give it a go as well.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I don't know whether or not this is actually true or not, but I've heard this on a couple of places. Did you notice anything different about Cade?
Not too sure. Is his voice differently then, is it? Slightly or not? Or?
Well, actually, yeah, because evidently Nathan Fillion wasn't able to come back to record Destiny 2 Forsaken, so his actual voice was done by Nolan North.
Do you know what? You can't really tell much difference, to be honest.
You can't.
No.
Because I was thinking, here we go. But I was listening, I was thinking, my God, this is a fantastic impersonation, if that's true. But GameSpot reported that.
Right.
So, it's just one of those things. I remember when we were talking, I just looked it up while you were talking. I thought, I'm sure there was something about Nathan Fillion not being able to do it, and it was Nolan North. And yeah, GameSpot reported it. So... But you would have never have known. No. It sounded exactly the same.
Yeah. So, by the way, that sidearm I'm using is called the Anonymous Autumn.
Right.
And it has a lightweight frame, short spec SAS, but it's got a full auto trigger system, and it's wonderful. I tell you.
I have to admit, I've had a sidearm with full auto on it before, and they are really good.
They are, and I picked this one. This one sits at a 503.
Yeah,
and it's pretty middle of the road with what it gives you, but it works well, even in the PvE space.
Yeah,
it seems to work well, and also the bow I'm using, this one it's called No Turning Back, and that's pretty good. And as I say, with that one there, you've got it's precision frame, high tension string, fiberglass arrow shaft, but it's got explosive head and a hip fire grip as well. So check out what different bows you get with what you get there, because they're all slightly different.
Yeah, they are.
But I don't want to talk much more about that, because we could go on all night, and I don't want to bore people, because we're going to talk about it next week. So should we move on?
Yep.
In quest of a better life.
Okay, so movies, TV, and streaming, and some sad news this week, because it was reported that evidently one of our stars that we grew up with, certainly Burt Reynolds, passed away at the age of 82.
Yeah, that's
which is a good ripe old age. I'm sure
is.
It doesn't feel like that when you're 82 years old, but yeah, it's such a shame to have lost such a, well, to be honest, a Hollywood legend, really.
See, I had to, when I saw that on my phone at the time, I thought, hang on a minute, before I start tweeting about this, because this is really something, I thought, I'm going to go to the BBC News now and see what they got on their page, just to confirm it's not one of those
hoaxes,
fake deaths or whatever it's going to be.
Do you know what? It annoys the hell out of me that people do those hoaxes about famous people dying. It's just not funny at all. But anyway.
So, yeah. Any thoughts on your favourites?
Well, I mean, he did so many films, didn't he? I mean, he first came onto the big screen half a century ago. You know, that's a heck of a long time. But, you know, he's had roles from A Southern Heartthrob to Tough Guy to comedy. You know, he was the rep David Dilbeck in Striptease, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah, which obviously flopped at the box office, but earned him a lot of praise for his comic abilities. But I think his best film was Deliverance.
Yeah, and that was, I think, was probably an 18 at the time.
It was, to be honest. I remember watching this when I was really young when I watched this. So way too young.
You were
to
way
have
too
watched
young,
this
because there's some scenes in that movie that you shouldn't be even squinting at. To be honest.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I was so young. It didn't even register with me, but basically, Otis off Superman gets raped.
He does, yeah. Squeal like a piggy.
Yeah. And the film is basically about Burt Reynolds, Ned Beatty and Ronnie Cox sort of like going after or trying to escape from these rednecks who are then pursuing them because they're on a canoeing sort of holiday.
Yeah, she's got his bow, isn't he?
Yeah, and then they end up killing him. So, but fantastic movie, and really, I think, cemented Burt Reynolds as a sort of like hard guy, because the role he plays in that, he's fantastic in that film. And, you know, I always remember that film, because I was so young, I didn't know what they were doing to Otis.
No.
Whatever his name is.
To be honest, though, that was 1972.
I know. I was 1 when the film was released.
I was 8. No, yeah, I was 8.
Yeah.
So I didn't see that until I was about 15, I think.
Yeah, no, I think I probably saw it when it first came on TV, because back then, you know, when I was about 8 or 9, I had a TV in my room.
Yeah.
And I used to, you know, shut the door and then switch TV on and watch the adult programs on the night.
And I think he can be most famous for, because we had the film Convoy.
Yeah.
From there, we had Smokey and the Bandit.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, I grew up watching Smokey and the Bandit and the Cannonball Run as well. Yeah. Cannonball Run's absolutely fantastic. Such a funny movie.
And there's Hooper as well. Do you remember that one?
Not so much, to be honest.
But they did do Smokey and the Bandit Rides Again in 1980 as well.
Yeah, wasn't quite as good though, was it? It lost a little bit. But the original Smokey and the Bandit's brilliant movie. And I've actually got that on DVD as well. I got it, actually, I think it was on the front cover of a magazine or something or other like that, or with a newspaper. Yeah,
I think my Cannonball Run came with a newspaper at some point.
Yeah, so I think I've probably got the same version of it as well. But yeah, those two, I would say, are probably a couple of my favourite films from that sort of era, really.
There was another one that's not mentioned a lot by people. I did put the poster on Facebook. And I loved Sharky's Machine.
I've not seen that one.
Which is, he's a cop.
Yeah.
So that's a slightly different role for him to play compared to what he's been doing. Smokey and the Bandit 3, I don't remember that one at all.
No, I don't either, to be honest.
Because he play...
it wasn't Smokey is the Bandit.
No, Smokey and the Bandit 3 it's called, and he plays the real bandit because there's another guy pretending to be the bandit. Does that ring a bell?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
And then obviously Cannonball Run 2.
Yeah.
And from there, he did Heat, Malone, I'm thinking about, I remember that one. He did a bit of voiceover for All Dogs Go to Heaven.
He was on the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, he did that as well.
And he was on My Name is Earl.
Yeah. And
he was even on The X-Files.
Oh, was he in there, was he?
2002, and the episode Improbable.
Yeah.
As Mr. Burt.
And he was in Mr. Bean.
Was he?
Yeah, the film.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. And one thing I do remember, and because I'm a bit of an Adam Sandler fan from his earlier days, was on the remake of the prison film, The Longest Yard.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Because he's one of the prisoners. It helps him put the football team together.
Yeah, classic film.
It is. And I was watching a bit of that today, actually. So
he was also on what was it, Boogie Nights? Do you remember that?
Yeah, and did a voiceover for Saints Row the Third.
Did he?
Yeah, Mayor Burt Reynolds.
He was on the Golden Girls as well. Yeah. So I mean, the amount of films. The film you were talking about was The Mean Machine, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That wouldn't be Adam Sandler.
No, it's the one he did was a takeoff from that.
Yeah.
Called The Longest Yard.
Yeah, because then Vinnie Jones did The Mean Machine, didn't he?
That's right. They took the British film version of it and put it into American football.
Yeah, no, British football.
Yeah, to American football.
Yeah, because his one was American.
No, it was it was a British film originally,
and then went to American football, and then went back to British football.
Yeah, and then Adam Sandler did a version back to American football, and then put him in that. The film I will watch The Last Movie Star this week. That isn't his last film though, because just having a look on the Internet Movie Database, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 films for 2018, so he may well have done. So he's done a few bits and bobs.
Well, Shadow Fighter and Defining Moments, wasn't there?
Yeah. I'd also go back and check him out on the BBC Chat Show with Graham Norton. When he was last on there, he was hilarious. He had some funny stories because he's been around as the sort of swagger he had with all the ladies. He has got a few good stories to tell.
And I still think that Whiskey on the Kingsman, The Golden Circle, was based on Burt Reynolds.
Do you think so?
In his earlier days. Oh, God, look at him. He had the same moustache. He looked the same. And given the fact that this guy was the guy who got his eyes poked out on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Who looks nothing like Burt Reynolds. And then you look at him as Whiskey on there, and he looks exactly like a young Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
But he was a Hollywood icon. There's no two ways about it. He was, one of the old school sort of light stars, up there with Charlton Heston and all of those ones.
Absolutely.
Such a shame. But, 82...
It's not a bad innings, is it?
It's not too bad. I'm sure that when we're 82, we won't think it's a good innings.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So, such a shame. Oh, by the way, did you know he was turned down for some of the biggest roles in Hollywood, including James Bond and Han Solo? So, because he was evidently being... he was asked to... play Han prior to Harrison Ford for Star Wars. But I didn't know before that he'd turned down Bond. I can't really quite see him as being Bond.
Well, it depends which one he was going to turn down as, because obviously it wouldn't have been the original Sean Connery. It might have been in one of the in-betweeners that
I reckon it'd have been George Lazenby sort of era.
Yeah, real shame.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to talk about Doctor Who?
Yes. So they've given us a release date of the 7th of October on a Sunday evening. Which
is unusual because Doctor Who was always a Saturday evening.
It is, and that's really going to screw us up from podcasting when it's on.
I have to admit, I mean, I used to like Doctor Who, but I've been ebbing away from it slowly over time, and I'm not really that bothered.
Well, I wasn't too keen on The Last Doctor, but I did love Matt Smith, and he was brilliant.
Now, you see, Matt Smith was sort of like my decline, and Peter Capaldi sort of pulled me back a little bit. But Doctor Who, to me, is children's horror in terms of it as a storyline. It's not like, high-quality sci-fi. I'm sorry if I'm offending Doctor Who fans here or Whovians. It's just a personal opinion. But the stories are always just a little bit easier.
And they have been wooden in their day.
Yeah.
But they have improved over the reboot, I feel.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the storylines have been really, really good. And I've really enjoyed all of the Doctor Who's. It's just, for me, I've just become a bit
I'm going to give
detached from the franchise.
I know, and well, I used to always watch it with the kids when they were here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it a go. I do like the actress that is going to play Doctor Who. I pretty much like to say in Broadchurch. She did a fantastic job in that. So from that, I will give it a go and see how it turns out. We'll be waiting with bated breath. One other quick thing is Star Trek was 52 yesterday.
Yes, it was indeed.
And we're not getting any younger when we think about that.
No, but it was 52 years since The Man Trap was released, wasn't it?
Which was the first episode they aired.
But not the first one in the story.
No.
It was the third.
Because the pilot, I think, was a bit later. I think they did that. So
yeah, there was The Cage. And then there was Where No Man's Gone Before.
When Kirk dropped, then Captain Kirk came in for that point there. So
yeah.
Yeah, so that was just a quick thing to say. But every year goes by, it just gets old. You get older. So there you go. Okay,
so new releases this week then. 12th of September, we have The Predator. So, what do you think about this one?
I'm not sure. I will get to see it at some point, but it won't take over the original for me.
You don't think so?
No. You got kids in this. It's not a gritty. It's not like load of mercenaries. It's more for the time with the sort of the viewing sort of cinema public we have now from then.
Yeah.
It's slightly different. It's been tailored to suit.
Yeah, I suppose. I just think it's a shame that they keep messing about with old classic movies, to be quite honest with you, but
yeah.
Never mind, we are where we are, not where we ought to be. So other films out on the 14th of September, we've got Crazy Rich Asians, Operation Finale, Superfly, Loving Pablo, King of Thieves, Lucky, and The Debt Collector. So there doesn't sound really to be anything too exciting in any of that.
I'm just going to have a look. King of Thieves I'm interested in.
Okay, so what's that one about?
Now, this stars Michael Caine, Michael Gambon.
Oh, it's the heist one, isn't it?
It's Jim Broadbent and Ray Winston. This is the heist for the London Jewellery that actually happened?
Yes, based on real life.
Yeah, and it was do you know what? I can't remember the name of the heist now that it was, but yeah, I'm very interested. I've seen the trailer for this. It looks pretty cool. So I love Michael Caine. He's brilliant. Everything about him is great, and some great other actors there to be alongside him.
Yeah,
Jim Broadbent,
veteran actions.
Yeah, Ray Winston he's probably a little bit less veteran as the veterans, but he's not far behind now.
Yeah, Michael Gambon's on it as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
check the trailer out for that. It's well worth a watch. That will be. And if you haven't seen the other film that he did while he was playing as doing a heist as Three Granddads, check that one out as well. Yeah. Which do you know what? I'm trying to quickly remember what that film was called, and it was called Going in Style. That was also with Morgan Freeman and Alan Arkin. And Three Granddads trying to rip off a bank. But well good. Might be good.
The other one, Operation Finale, that one has Oscar Isaac, as in Poe Dameron, and also Ben Kingsley, and it's about a team of secret agents set out to track down the Nazi officer who masterminded the Holocaust, so that one might be quite good. And Superfly appears to be like a variation of Layer Cake, to be honest. It's about the retirement in mind. A successful young drug dealer deals one last big job while dealing with his trigger-happy colleagues and the police. So that sounds exactly the same as Layer Cake to me. So there's a couple of interesting ones. The Debt Collector I don't think really sounds that good, and it's also got a 5.6 out of 10.
Yeah.
No one's super famous in that by the look of it. So yeah, a bit of a slim picking, really, isn't it? Apart from I suppose the Predator and the heist one. But yeah. So in terms of Blu-rays and DVDs. Do you want to do any ones that strike your attention?
Bad Boys 2. Haven't you seen Bad Boys 2?
Bad Boys 1 and 2. Yeah.
4K Blu-ray. Obviously, The Good Place Season 1.
Oh, yes. Brilliant.
Which obviously is on Netflix straight away. You don't have to buy that one. You can watch it straight away.
But also, the new season starts this month.
Yeah. I can't remember what the exact date is.
It's about the 27th or something like that, isn't it?
I don't know. Is that the States get it before us?
I don't know, because it's Netflix, isn't it?
So we don't know, yeah?
No.
Bugsy Malone, blimey. Now that
love that movie.
I have got the DVD of that sitting behind me.
No, I love that movie.
Yeah. There's one there actually that none of you are going to be interested, only but me. But it's called A Matter of Life and Death, and it's a black and white film, so that's how old it is.
Yeah. And
it's about an RAF pilot that is going to heaven, but they have a court case because he says he shouldn't go to heaven.
Yeah.
And he's fallen in love with this girl. So it's about him not having to go to heaven, but they have a big court in heaven to see whether or not he should still be alive. Hence the title. That was a classic film. That was David Niven in there. Heathers, remember that from the 80s?
Yeah.
Actually, that was mentioned in Ready Player One in the book, by the way. Eagle Has Landed.
Yeah.
Is a classic film there. So there's a couple of bits and pieces.
There's also The Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a classic movie in its own right, to be quite honest, I think. But I must admit, when you said that only you'd be interested, I thought you were going to say Porky's Revenge for a minute, because that's also been released on Blu-ray as well.
I remember Porky's. Modern Family Season 9, but they're classic. They're brilliant.
Yeah. The producers as well, 50th anniversary.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah, a bit of Springtime for Hitler again. And also the one that we've not seen, The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah, look. See, it's trying to tell us something.
That is so weird, isn't it? Last week we said we hadn't seen it, and this week it's been released on Blu-ray.
Yeah, but I think I can have a hunt for that probably on Sky, actually, to see that. Okay, what's next? Cinema charts. So at number 5, we have Searching. At number 4, we have The Meg. At number 3, we have Black Klansman. At number 2, we have Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. And at number 1, we've still got Christopher Robin. Yeah, and not a lot to say about all of those, to be honest. As much as I want to see The Meg, but I should wait for that to come round.
Yeah. DVD and Blu-ray charts, do you want to do those?
Yeah, so 5 at 5, we have Black Panther. 4 at 4, we've got The Greatest Showman. In at 3, we've got Ghost Stories. And 2 and 1 stay the same. Ready Player One's at number 2 and Rampage is number 1. I'm
amazed that Rampage is beating Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Even though I loved Rampage, don't get me wrong. I still can't believe that Rampage is beating Ready Player One in the charts.
Yeah.
So what have you been watching? You finally watched Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, well, we nearly didn't last night because my daughter had a phone call saying that she couldn't get over the bridge out of the stables because a tree had gone down. And I'm thinking, pause the film, here we go. But we was able to get someone out there to chainsaw the tree down so they could drive over the bridge to come home, so I didn't need to go anywhere. So all good. And I sat and watched all 2.5 hours of it and loved every minute of it.
What did you think of the ending?
Well,
without saying what the ending was.
Interesting.
Brave?
Yeah, well, but we know what films are coming out in the interim period of the MC universe.
Yeah.
So there's some tricks up the sleeves there, I feel. And also the end credits, at the very end of the 5 minutes of credits you have to put up with.
Yes.
To get to that last sequence as well. But
they're always well worth it. So what you must do every time you watch a Marvel movie is check IMDb to see how many end credits there are in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, we can say that Captain Marvel is teased.
Yes,
there are some screenshots over the internet at the moment for that.
And doesn't that suit look very reminiscent of Captain America's?
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, what a movie in Avengers was. Wow. And Yeah, we can't really say much at the moment because it's only just those that may have not called it at the cinema like me. It's now out released on Blu-ray and 4K UHD.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can. We just have to say spoiler alert.
Well,
and tell people to skip or on their own head be it if you want to talk about it.
Oh, well, maybe leave it for another night. I don't know.
Or maybe just do a special on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe just do a special on Marvel and talk about that as well.
Because I did actually watch the night before. I watched not the one that preceded
Black Panther.
No, I haven't seen Black Panther yet, so I haven't even seen that one. But I watched the other. We watched the first Avengers movie.
Right. Okay.
But then obviously there was Age of Ultron was the last one.
Yeah.
But maybe I should have watched that as well. But no, I did watch that the other night. But no, I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I stayed away from spoilers. I didn't know what was coming.
It was killing me to tell you.
And even my son was with us this weekend. He said, "Dad, do you know what? Do you know the ending? Because he's already seen it, but he's not seen it properly. He's watched it in bits, but never actually sat and watched the whole movie." So yeah. I said, "Well, we'll put it on because I've been meaning to watch it." And he said, "Do you know?" I said, "No." I said, "I've watched a bit of it already, I must admit, but I don't know the outcome. I've stayed away from spoilers, and I'm glad I did."
Yeah, because it would have ruined watching the movie.
Yeah, because I'm going to say this now because it didn't happen. I thought I was going to see Captain America die in this film. That was my thought.
I think everybody thought that. But thanks for ruining it for everybody who hasn't seen it, who would probably be expecting that.
Yeah. Well, I'll
say that on their behalf.
Yeah, we're saving your grace on that one.
That's not to say he's not going to die in the next movie.
No.
Because his contract's up after the next movie as well.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to wrap my brain about the next Guardians movie.
Well, that's got into production hell, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
With getting rid of James Gunn and then
have we got a cast list on there?
No, because we know that the wrestler, what's his name, who I can't pronounce the surname of.
No, what I'm saying is from what characters are going to be in it. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh right, yeah. Well, that's another thing, isn't it, as well?
Because
but we can't say anything about that.
You see, all I can say, right, is listening to Benedict Cumberbatch talking about all the different ways this story this can go as it was going through. I feel time travel will get involved in this, maybe.
Well, there is the time stone, isn't there?
Yeah, it'd be a cheap get out of jail card and then forget the rest of this movie. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to say more than that, really, at the moment.
I think that we're going to see some really quite... I do think that we're going to see in the next one certainly permadeath for some characters. I think that
I did look at the timeline because we'd still before the next Avengers movie comes out.
There's a new Guardians,
and also there's another. There's another Marvel movie coming out. There's two before. There's one in July, I think, and one in March next year. So, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it, I must admit. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And
I always said to you would, didn't I?
Yeah. And, it was just... I think what it was, what made it for me was actually because there's the different characters from the different movies as they stand alone, which were great. And they did blend so well together. They gelled brilliantly. Even though it was... The film basically doesn't get slow into it. It's bang, you're into this action. And it's like that. There's a break midway through the third of the film where it slows down a bit.
Not for long, though.
But then other than that, it's you've got all these different events happening in different parts of the world or different planets, shall we say. And what's going on. I just think it worked. The chemistry was brilliant. I mean, it really worked well.
Oh, this is the most polished of all of the Marvel films. It's like, I really love Black Panther. It wasn't my absolute favourite.
No,
Thor Ragnarok was my favourite. But this is just pipped it at the post.
Yeah.
When you actually look at the story, I mean, the Hulk facing off Thanos.
And then being a coward for the rest of the movie.
Evidently not. Slight spoiler there.
But I just love the Thor chatting, calling him Rabbit. Just made me laugh.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, as cheesy as Thor Ragnarok was.
No, but
it worked.
It did. It did. Thor Ragnarok worked fantastically with the humour. It fit that style of movie.
See, I thought there was too much. As I said, I've always said there was too much humour in that in Thor Ragnarok. Personally, but
I think it worked right the way through the whole film.
It's just making it too comedy. But because of how this film went and how sensitive it is in different parts of the film, the comedy was there where it needed to be, and no more, no less. And that's why I think it really worked for me. And really good. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I probably need to watch it again at some point.
Well, I mean, I've watched it several times now.
Yeah.
And I'm still picking bits out. But it's so nice that the iron suit from the film is in the game.
Yeah, I thought that's why I asked the question. That was quite clever.
And it looks stunning as well when it's rendered on your screen, to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that movie. Really enjoyed it.
I thought you would.
Yeah. As much as I'm a great DC fan, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. To be fair, I do think that DC really needs to pull their act together on the films. And I think some of it is the DC universe is too confusing because the TV shows operate a different universe to the one that the films do. And that doesn't make sense. You know, you've got two people playing Superman.
Yeah.
You know, depending upon which one you want, two people playing the Flash. You don't need all of that. It should have just be one. And the guy who plays Barry Allen, you know, fair dues to the guy who played Barry Allen in Justice League. He was okay, but I prefer the TV series Barry Allen.
Oh, I do. I mean, there's been 4 seasons now.
Yeah.
So we're so used to him.
Yeah. But it's not about being used to him, though. It's just, he's a better Barry Allen.
But he's worn the suit now for 4 years.
Even going back to season 1, I'm saying right the way back, I just think he's been better right from the start.
Yeah.
And I think that the guy who plays Barry Allen in the movies has had a really, really difficult difficult act to follow. And they've deliberately steered the Barry Allen away from the one that he is in the TV series.
Yeah.
And while I like his character, I think that was a mistake. But DC Universe is always much more gloomy, though.
Well, yeah, it's very dark, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is quite ironic when you consider that they have Superman, who is probably one of the brightest superheroes going. But I'd love to see a proper face-off between the Hulk and Superman. Who would win?
Oh, God knows.
Whoever the writers made win.
Yeah,
But it would be interesting if you could, create a fictional universe and just have that actually battle out.
Yeah. So I don't know how we're going to squeeze it in, but the next untitled Avengers movie is supposed to be out in 2019.
Well, I thought that was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, to be honest. So you mean the follow-up, the Infinity War 2?
Part 2, yeah. It's 2019.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been 2020, but he's doing a Sherlock Holmes 3 then. Or will be. And he's got Dr. Dolittle to do as well. As in, I can't cut his name now. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
So he's got quite a bit on at the moment. So, but yeah, no, it's funny how Robert Downey Jr. was, because he was a bit of a wild kid, wasn't he?
He was very wild, and he went to prison for a while as well, didn't he?
So back in the day, him and Kiefer Sutherland were the two sort of wild teenagers of the movie industry.
Yes.
But look how they both turned out, though. Quite respectable for a change.
Yeah, and what really annoys me is when you actually see the Robert Downey Jr. interviews, a lot of the interviewers are always wanting to go back to his past and about how he's turned his life around. He's turned his life around. He doesn't want revising, reminding about that. And he's actually walked out of interviews as a result. And I don't blame him, to be honest, because he wants to disassociate himself from that now.
Yeah.
And the strange thing is about Disney firing James Gunn as the director for the new Guardians movie when he's got such a proven track record because of the remarks that he'd made on Twitter years ago when he was a lot younger and he's a different person now. They fired him immediately because of that, but yet they'll take Robert Downey Jr., who's a convicted felon, and that's all right. How does that work? What bit of, thinking wasn't working in the Disney camp at that point?
Yeah. So what we've got is Venom comes out in October.
You've got to remember, it is a Marvel movie, but it's not a Disney Marvel, that one, though, is it? It's a Sony Marvel one.
Mm.
So, while it is Marvel, because it's Venom, it's not Disney.
No, so that's a different timeline then?
Different universe entirely, because Disney have managed to negotiate the rights to get Spider-Man, but in terms of all of the villains, they still don't have those rights.
So, following from there, we got the cartoon Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in December this year. We got Silver and Black, that comes out in February next year. Following that, we got the Dark Phoenix in February.
That's the Sony.
Yeah. Then Captain Marvel in March 8th next year.
Yeah.
Following that, in May, is Avengers Infinity Wars Part 2.
Yeah.
Then Gambit, which is June the 7th of next year.
Sony, because it's X-Men.
Yeah. Then we got the new Spider-Man movie, Homecoming. That's in July.
No, Far From Home. Homecoming was the first one.
Sorry, yeah, they got that wrong there. That should be Far From Home.
Yeah.
Which is actually what it is right now. Without saying too much.
Well, evidently the storyline is that
must be
Peter Parker's on a field trip.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've heard's the storyline on that one.
Then following that, August of next year again, we got the New Mutants.
Sony.
Yeah. Then 2020, we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah.
And then we got 4 movies that are untitled as such. We've got Black Panther 2. We got the Black Widow movie, Doctor Strange 2, and the Logan spin-off. So there's loads to go.
But, and I know I keep coming back to this, but we've got to differentiate between the Sony movies and the proper Disney movies, because Sony don't own the rights to X-Men.
No.
Sorry, Sony do own the rights to X-Men, Disney don't. And Disney doesn't own the rights to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's on loan.
But actually, I thought X-Men was Fox, not Sony. And Fox has been bought out by Disney. So yes, they do.
Maybe now.
Yeah.
But they hadn't.
No, because there was a movie that was coming out which has been canned.
Yeah.
So Disney owned Fox, so they now do own X-Men and Logan.
Well, we might see in the reboot of the Marvel Universe, which is bound to happen at some point, that the X-Men will start to come into the story.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, I'm quite happy with the X-Men and the Marvel Cinematic Universe being entirely separate, because to me they don't belong in the same universe, because otherwise every superhero would be an X-Man, as it were.
So just to confirm that, just reading here, sorry MCU, but the Fox Disney deal might be in trouble. Oh no, that's already happened, we know that. So Disney revealed plans for X-Men and Fantastic Four, Deadpool properties, and more comic books to come. Just looking at these headlines. So yeah, it looks like X-Men is now a part of that universe as far as Disney is concerned anyway. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, no, Sony does own Spider-Man, definitely.
Yes. Yeah, they've always owned Spider-Man, but the X-Men is a part of Fox, along with Logan. So Disney now do own that, as they bought them out. Anyway, should we move on?
Yep, let's go on and listen to questions. Oh, sorry, hang on. Before that, I haven't spoke about what I was watching.
Oh, go on then. I'll give you 5 minutes.
That's very magnanimous of you. Thank you very much.
That's all right, sir. You crack on. I've got my glass of wine here. You go on.
I've been watching the IT Crowd.
I could never get into that. I just don't know why.
I just absolutely love it as a show. I used to watch it years ago on Channel 4, but Catherine Parkinson, who plays Jen, who's the IT manager, she's gone on to bigger and better things, like being in Humans and stuff like that. So a long way from when she used to do the Maltesers adverts, if you remember those.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Chris O'Dowd, who, again, he's in movies now as well. Richard Ayoade, who, he's been on a number of films now, hasn't he, recently? But also he's got quite a big career in terms of TV as well. He was the Gadget Man, and he's done voiceover for kids' cartoons and stuff like that as well. And also, I love Matt Berry as well, because he also was in Toast of London, which, if you ever watched that.
Okay.
Where it was it's like a very sort of stupid comedy, but he's a struggling actor who is, always doing things wrong and lives with his friend, and basically he's just a bit, he's a bit rubbish at everything that he does, really. But no, I do quite actually like Matt Berry as, in his part in that, and also in the IT crowd. Yeah. Or the IT crowd, whichever way around you're supposed to do it. But it's just got so many references that we just, that just appeal to us as our sense of humour. I'm surprised you don't like this.
No, I mean, see, I do watch, from the IT crowd, I suppose it's not probably far off the Big Bang in a way. Not exactly the same, but because it's a sort of a nerd TV show, isn't it?
It is. It is. I mean, in terms of it, you can tell that it's aged because Chris O'Dowd in one episode is actually wearing a Rolf Harris t-shirt.
Surprised they haven't blurred that out.
Yeah, well, quite politically correct these days because of what he was convicted of. But, back then, when, when this was out, there wasn't all of that controversy about him. But in terms of it as a show, it's just really daft, good fun humour. I love the show. But yeah, so that's on Netflix at the moment if anybody wants to reinvest in actually watching that, to be honest. Yeah. So I would recommend it if you haven't seen it before, or if you like nerdy humour.
And just quickly, as I did mention Big Bang, and that's coming back shortly, but it's going to be for the last time.
Yes.
And this will be the last season when it starts later in the year. Which is a big shame, but all good things come to an end, as they say.
I need to get into that.
You never watched it, have you?
I have watched it, but I don't know, it's just not engaging with my brain. There's a couple of episodes that I've watched and I thought, I really appreciate what they've done there. But appreciating what they've done and watching it because I've enjoyed it are two different things.
Yeah, well, you've got to watch the Mark Hamill episode. That'll crack you up.
No doubt it will. The one that did crack me up was when they got dressed up in Star Trek uniforms and went to Vasquez Rocks. Yeah,
that's it. Because also, as I say, there's been some great cameos in it.
Yes.
And Leonard Nimoy was in it, obviously playing a tiny toy version of Spock. And who else turned up? Geordie LaForge turned up for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And he walked in their room and they all left because they were playing Rock Band at the time.
And LeVar Burton now, he does kids' stories, doesn't he, on TV?
Oh, does he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rainbow something or other, I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, that's evidently what he does. It's a long way from when he played Chicken George on Root.
Yeah. And one of the biggest cameos that was being used a few times would have been that a certain scientist that's not with us any longer.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. And they did take the mick out of him.
Mind you, Stephen Hawking he also did a guest appearance on The Next Generation as well.
Because he was in that in the card game.
Yeah.
With Einstein as well, remember rightly?
And Newton and Data. Yeah.
So, but yeah, all good.
Definitely. But yeah, I love those sort of like nerdy programs, but I do like the IT crowd. Great laugh. Anyway, we'll move on to listener questions.
John, what's happening to us?
Okay, so we have, as usual, Mark kicking us off, and he's asking this time, if you could take a video game character with you into a movie scene of your choice, who would you take, where would you go, and why?
I should have read these before.
Yeah, well, I'm going to let you answer that one first.
Oh, really?
Really?
What are you doing to me?
Stitching you up the same way as you stitch me up on these questions as well.
Right, if I could take a video game character with me. The thing is, you couldn't take Lara Croft because she's been in a movie.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't make sense. Oh, I suppose I could take my Fallout 4 character with me.
How did I know you were going to say Fallout 4? Who is female, isn't it?
She is.
Yeah.
And what would I put her in? What would I take? Well, I could take her out for a meal, but into what movie? Where could I put her? I could probably chuck her in a Resident Evil movie, maybe, and put her in there alongside the lead.
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue. I'm just really stumped at this one. Shame I hadn't drunk more wine, because you might have got a better sense out of me for that.
Well, I would take my Destiny character.
Yeah.
And I would stick him in the middle of a zombie movie. Probably like Daisy. World War Z, rather.
Not Sean.
No, World War Z, where they've got the fast-moving, zombies coming at you, and see how he would cope with, taking on the hordes.
It wouldn't be difficult, would it? Just using his super. He'd be slicing them up like cheddar cheese.
Yeah, but you'd have to wait for that to charge again.
Oh, yeah, but he did do a pretty good job on it.
Didn't do Cade much good, did it?
Spoilers.
Seeing as how all of the literature on this and all of the adverts and whatever are all showing where he ends up.
Yeah, well.
Not that much of a spoiler, really. I think Bungie spoiled it before we ever did.
I did? Oh, excuse me. I did at that, yeah.
Yeah. So, next question.
So, how long have you had your current job? Have you ever had a major change of career? Haydn?
I thought I'd be going first this time somehow.
Well, actually, you've been talking about it already, maybe. I don't know.
I have, yeah. Yes, I have had major changes in my career several times, to be quite honest with you. I used to work... Well, my first job, I was a telephone market researcher when I left school. And then I went to work for the council and worked for education for 4.5 years. And then I moved over to the police and I was working in the fingerprint bureau for about 18 months. And then I moved over to data protection and information security. And I stayed there for 13 years. And then I was made redundant. And then after a bit of a break, I went to what is now the Disclosure and Barring Service, what then was called the Independent Safeguarding Authority. And I did information governance there. And then I was policy officer there. And then I moved to the North Yorkshire Safeguarding Children Board. And I've been there tomorrow for exactly 6 years. And then, because it's my work anniversary tomorrow, I bet nobody will know that, though. That's the one thing. But, so 6 years, and I think I'm the longest standing member of the board as well, or the business unit for the board as well. And then next month I moved jobs to be at the North Yorkshire Safeguarding Adults Board. So going to the other side of the 18-year-old line and looking after older people. So what about yourself, Steve?
Well, my current job has been taken over by a few companies.
Yeah.
So I think it's about 14 years I've been in this job. And the rest of my life was an electrician, which was my first job. I did bounce to a couple of firms and then back to my original firm.
Yeah.
But that again was a even longer stint for me until I just decided to do a complete change to go into CCTV and access control. But yeah, these days I've been meaning to maybe move again, but then again I think it could be difficult as you get older. Yeah. Because of, I'm not sure there isn't too much on the way of scrutiny between hiring someone that's 25 to someone that's 50. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, certainly when I've ever done recruitment, until you actually get into the interview, I've not known the name of the person or how old they were or where they've come from other than through their resume of what jobs they've got. Now, sometimes obviously you can identify who they are because you know them because they've applied for a job with you, sort of thing. But or you have a strong suspicion. But certainly in the recruitment things I've ever been involved with, you just don't get to know things like age and whatever. So, but not everywhere is the same. Private industry is very different to local government.
True.
So,
but yeah, okay. So,
in fact, I actually, years ago, I used to be what was called the CCTV liaison officer for the force. And I used to go, and they thought this was funny, but the Association of Chief Police Officers, or ACPO, as they were, had a CCTV focus group. And they thought it was hilarious. Mind you, it wasn't as good as the group that I did used to go to nationally, because PITO, as it was called, the Police Information Technology Organisation, used to have the Police Information Security Officers Forum. And obviously everything gets broke down to its first letters, so I'll let you work out what that stood for.
Is it like Trotters Independent Traders? That's it.
Well, in police terms, it was Papa Indigo Sierra Oscar Foxtrot.
Okay.
So, moving on then to Facebook and Nicky Wilson. He's saying, what do you think about Sky Cinema's Hurricane Heist and Final Score simultaneous TV and theatrical release this year?
It's different, but it's never going to be the biggest movies, is it, that get this?
No.
Although I did see Hurricane Heist. I think I nodded off in that one. And I have got Final Score to watch. I've got that downloaded, but I'll give it a go at some point. Seems a bit far-fetched, but we'll see.
Is that what he's talking about, though?
Yeah.
Because it's about Sky making their own movies, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're releasing them on the cinema, and also in Sky, get them the same Sky release as well.
Yeah, because I thought that was what it was, right. So this Hurricane Heist actually only gets 44% on reviews.
Yeah, that came out a little while ago.
Yeah.
And Final Score came out Friday.
Right. I presume Final Score's obviously a football sort of related.
Yeah, there's a heist going on while there's a big match on. And apparently there's motorbikes over the top of the stadium, but I know it's going to sound a bit very far-fetched. Who knows?
This is just really the next step to what Film 4 have been doing for years, really, isn't it? Because Film 4 produce their own movies, but if they think that they're good enough, they'll stick them at the cinema for a while and then put them on Film 4, whereas this is just doing it at the same time.
It is, yeah.
Be interesting to see what the output is, whether or not they actually get any more or less money. I can't really see if I had, like for example, Infinity War. There was another movie actually. One of the cartoon. It was a cartoon animation that came out, right?
And that I think it was about a family that ended up being werewolves and vampires. I can't remember the name of the film, and that was a sort of Pixar-style movie that went straight to the cinema in the summer and then straight on the box at the same time.
Right.
So there's a third one.
Yeah, but would you go and pay money to see a film that you could watch at home for free?
Of course not.
No. I think the reason why cinema is the way it is because it's evolved that way for a reason.
Yeah.
Personally, but who knows. Anyway, should we move on to Paul's?
Yeah, so Paul Wilson is saying, what's your favourite takeaway food? His is a nice Indian curry, lamb jalfrezi with extra onions, vindaloo, plus heat. So the vindaloo, is that vindaloo style with extra heat for him?
Yes. Plus heat.
Plus heat. There is a tindaloo though, which is a bit hotter, I think.
Yeah.
That would knock you out.
So I have to admit, I'm not a big curry fan, personally. I'm more like Italian food, so.
But didn't we go for a Balti? Do you remember?
We did. When it was what do you call it? EGX.
So yes. We went to a local restaurant, and I think Glyn was with us as well. Wasn't
he? Glyn was with us as well. Yeah, and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, but if I had, the choice of all food, like saying that we were walking down the street and there was a curry house and other ones. The curry would be quite high up on my list, but I would be more inclined to go towards an Italian sort of restaurant, so pasta and that sort of stuff.
So what would you have then? Not just pizza or something like that then, or?
No, I'd have some sort of pasta dish. I don't know. I'll just see what was on the menu, but I do quite like pasta. But the thing with me is I can only eat pasta hot. I can't eat cold pasta. I think it's disgusting. So, it's because my wife will cook pasta and then mix stuff up and then take it to work and then just eat it cold. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But if it's, it has to be piping hot, the pasta. But if it is, then, I love pasta as a food.
Oh, well, funny enough, we had that the other night. Just for some reason we had, pasta, filled pasta with mushroom sauce. It's lovely. Really tasty.
Yeah. But, like ravioli and all that sort of stuff. Like,
yeah,
I don't mean Haydn's, I mean the proper stuff.
No. It's a filled pasta, not ravioli tinned.
Yeah.
But I do like a good curry, and maybe a chicken jalfrezi or a chicken madras with keema naans, onion bhajis. All the full works. Yeah,
I don't mind a madras. I don't mind a tikka. I prefer masala, but I don't really like vindaloo and really strong curry flavours. I'm not a big. I don't like really strong flavours in anything. I like quite medium flavours.
You're a bland guy, are you?
No, not bland. I said medium, so I'd be like weak sort of stuff.
Yeah, so okay.
So Paul's other question, one of 4 questions he's actually put today, is every year a game or two tends to cause complete online outrage, causing some form of major backlash. Can you see anything in the forthcoming releases that are perhaps in this line for social media lashing? I think we've already had it, haven't we? Spider-Man.
Probably because every company and man and dog have stayed away from the Red Dead release date.
Yeah.
So that's going to be on its own.
Is that going to be like a damp squid?
No, I don't think so. But then again, I might hold back on that because they've got Fallout 76 coming out. And that's going to be delivered in the post. It's already ready to go. Well, whenever it comes out.
Yeah.
I'll have my armor helmet on.
I think in terms of these sort of games that cause some sort of controversy, there always seems to be, it seems to be the games that you don't expect it to be. It's like, for example, we weren't expecting Mass Effect Andromeda to have negative press, but from the moment it hit the streets, it was getting it, wasn't it? I mean, deservedly, before they patched it. For
that reason, and then obviously you had Mass Effect of old, which had just a bit of a little shine towards blue aliens.
Yeah.
Bit of a stir there.
Well, also, that game actually had a bit of a stir because that was one of the first games where your character could have sex with the same sex. So you could be gay in that if you wanted to, whereas previous games, you couldn't be, could you, really? So much.
No.
But I do think that Nintendo games always seem to be completely devoid of any controversy, really. I can't really think of anything that's been controversial about a Nintendo game.
Other than cardboard?
Yeah, I suppose. That's making it very Marmite, isn't it?
Yeah. Not that you put Marmite in cardboard anyway, but there you go.
But, yeah, any games that you think might be going to cause a bit of an issue?
I don't know. We'll see what Tomb Raider has to say next week.
Yeah, Tomb Raider. I suppose Assassin's Creed Odyssey could, especially if it's like Unity.
Assassin's Creed do like to have a bit of a stir, don't they?
Yeah, I'm looking through the list of all of the games that are sort of coming out. To be honest, it seems to be a bit of a bland season this time to me. That there's lots of games coming out, but nothing that's really, other than Assassin's Creed, I'm really excited about after Tomb Raider.
See,
Just Cause 4.
Yeah, after Fallout, obviously, and Red Dead, we can have Resident Evil next year.
Yeah, but that's next year. That's not this year, is it?
Yeah, no. But hey ho.
I just think that at the moment,
maybe it's a good job it's like this because I mean, there's loads to play, but we might get a chance to sort of take our time. Yeah,
it would be nice to have them a bit more spaced out, I suppose.
Obviously, you've got your typical FIFA. And you've got your Call of Duty and stuff like that, but
well, FIFA's caused a bit of controversy in the past, hasn't it? Because of the putting in the career mode and stuff like that. Not the story mode.
Yeah.
Well, that was quite positive controversy rather than...
Oh,
anything.
yeah, I don't see there's really any controversy there at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
The only controversy with FIFA has been originally was the the point system with the cards and everything else, you know.
But that's EA money grabbing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they always... They've done it to every franchise that they've ever owned, really. You know, when you look at Dead Space, the thing that killed Dead Space was all of the microtransactions that they put in 3. More than anything else. I wonder if we'll ever see another Dead Space. I would like to see another one, but...
No, I don't think so.
I think it's a shame because I think there's a call for that sci-fi horror, zombie horror sort of genre, which that really was.
Yeah.
But no doubt something like Soul Calibur will probably have a little bit of controversy about it because it'll be no doubt very busty, skinnily clad women that'll be portrayed in there, and there'll be some upset about the dress and all of that sort of thing. So I did actually thinking about controversy, wasn't it Germany that have actually lifted the ban on the swastika actually appearing in games as well?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sure I read somewhere that that had happened now, which is, I suppose, positive.
Yeah. It's been difficult, really, because there's been, the different countries have different ways of that working, really.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Do you want to go and do Paul's next one?
So, do you think arcades will ever make a real comeback based on technology being so advanced that in the home when the gaming systems cannot quite compare? I don't think arcades are always going to be around because retro always still sits, but no real big comeback. I don't think there's nothing there to do with that.
I don't think that they'll be as big as they were for us in the 80s. No. Again, I think that they've always got the place, and I think that those places are things like the bowling alley that has arcade machines,
and places like Blackpool,
places like Blackpool, Redcar, all those sort of beachside sort of towns where the whole of the trade is like the amusement and the beachfront and all of that sort of stuff. But also places like, family holiday places as well, like Haven and all of those sort of places. I think that those are the main areas where arcades exist now. Because
you're not at home with your Xbox or your PlayStation, are you?
No. I think if they really wanted to make it more innovative, what they should do is have something where it recognises who you are in some way, whether or not that's you sticking in a USB stick or whatever, and then you can go home and plug it into your Xbox or your PlayStation, and you can take something from that arcade back to that machine to play. For example, I don't know, like, for example, you were on about the Halo game.
Yeah, did you look at that?
I didn't, to be honest, but I forgot about it. But thinking about that game particularly, if you went onto that arcade machine, did something on there, come back, and then you plug it into your Xbox, and then that gave you, like, something that you could play, like a suit in multiplayer or something like that. That might get people more interested in playing them.
Yeah.
That bonus sort of content. And it wouldn't be hard for them to do, really, either.
No, true.
So, just a thought, but I can't see them being as big as they used to be.
No.
And thank God for that, because I wasted far too much money on them.
Yeah.
So, Paul's next question, last one this week, I think, is any potential sleeper hits on the horizon, one or two that perhaps might take the gaming world by storm?
Well, there was one sleeper hit that's got a sequel, which is Dying Light.
Yeah.
Which looked very interesting. The first game was fantastic. And they have got a sequel to that. So I might put that in the box for it.
There's Hitman 2.
Yeah.
That's been one of those really quite quiet but very popular games, I think.
Yeah, I sort of gone a bit stale on Hitman for me, to be honest.
Have you actually tried Hitman 2? Or Hitman, rather?
I've played Hitman games of the past.
No, the new one.
No, I haven't, no.
I'm not sure. I think you can actually get the first couple of levels free. You want to have a look?
I think it's on Game Pass now, isn't it?
Might be. Have a load up, because it is worth playing.
Another sleep hit, which is got a actual release date in September, will be Life is Strange 2.
Yes.
Because that came from nowhere, didn't it?
Is that a sleeper hit, though, or is that something that you kind of We're building up expectations because
I don't know, because I don't think we did know anything about Life is Strange when it came out.
But we do now.
Yeah, but it's now got a sequel. So it says a sleeper-ish hit too.
Okay.
I don't know. It's me just playing. Okay.
I think Forza 4. Well, Forza Horizon 4 will be popular.
That is a hit on the horizon, isn't it?
It is. I'll tell you one game I think will be controversial, though, is the new Call of Duty Black Ops. Just going back to his previous question. Because that doesn't have the campaign and it's all online multiplayer.
Well, that'd be an interesting take to see how that goes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
All right. You doing the next one?
Oh, Chris Pedersen, yeah. When you get down to a good gaming session, what is your choice of beverage and food to see you through? Well, actually, do you like to eat while playing games? Because you get the old controller a bit mucky.
Yeah. You have to be careful on what you eat. You can't eat sort of like real lot of finger food, can you? Or at least make sure your hands are clean afterwards. If
you're gonna have What's-Its,
a Monster Munch.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want those sort of foods or anything that causes a lot of crumbs. No,
I mean to be honest, I think it's more drinking probably than eating.
Yeah,
because it isn't very nice over the headset, is it?
No.
And I've had a crisp or two before, and you've gone, what the heck is that noise?
Yeah, all I hear is...
Yeah, I'll just mute that for a minute. It depends it depends what mood I'm in, whether it's going to be alcohol or it's going to be soft drink or it's going to be water, So.
Yeah.
Just depends, really.
Very true, very true. But for me, well, I only ever drink Diet Coke, so it's Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Maybe a lemonade if I'm being really adventurous.
Mm. Oh, look at you.
I know. But I have to admit, if I'm gaming, I quite like having something like, if I'm just having a fun gaming session where I just want to enjoy gaming for the sheer thing of gaming, something like Minstrels or Counters or Cadbury's Fingers, chocolate fingers. That's quite nice to have when you're gaming as well.
Yeah.
Or Maltesers.
Well, actually, as long as they don't melt in your fingers. Yeah,
well, trust me, they go from my fingers to my mouth that quickly. There is no opportunity to melt.
And I do like some. What's the coloured ones? That's sweet flavoured.
M&Ms.
No,
Smarties.
No, the rainbow colours.
Smarties.
No, not them. The ones that got a bit of a sweet and sour taste to them. Skittles.
Yeah.
I
don't do Skittles, I have to admit.
Oh, lovely.
So there you go. Lots of options for you there. So the last question of the night goes to Craig Cole. Can you name 3 games that sums up you as a gamer and no more than 3?
Destiny, Fallout, and Resident Evil.
How did I know you were going to say those games?
Go on then.
Well, what games do you think I'm going to say?
Destiny?
Yeah.
Star Wars game somewhere in there?
No.
Mass Effect?
Yes. Ooh, down to the last one.
What would your third game be?
My third game would probably actually be my first game.
Which is?
Think about what have I talked about quite a lot over the past.
Oh,
my version of Fallout.
Would you put Spider-Man in there?
No. I haven't talked about that loads. Only today.
Oh, I can't think.
I've been playing this game since 1984.
Oh, Elite Dangerous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be mine.
Okay.
So that's it for another week. Hopefully we'll get back to more normal shows shortly, but we have had some people saying to me, I don't know whether or not you've had contact, but people saying they actually quite like the shorter shows. So
yeah, I saw some of the tweets and stuff and whatever.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of some people like the shorter shows, some people like the longer shows. Maybe we'll actually put it to a vote, see what people want us to do the most. Obviously, shorter shows are easier to produce from our point of view, to be honest.
And we can also do if we did a special instead that we threw in there, and like if we were going to do Avengers or something, or
yeah. Well, I mean, we started off doing specials and then we stopped doing them, haven't we? So
yeah,
maybe the idea would be to actually just do a couple of shorter shows a month and then just do the normal weekly ones. So I don't know. We'll have to have a chat offline about it and sort it out. So do you want to give your contact details, Steve? So
Twitter @Steve007, PSN ID TheRealSteve007, Xbox Steve007, email is steve007@popculturegamers.co.uk. There's a YouTube channel for Steve07, which is movies, soundtracks, gaming, which I'm doing there for music. Other than that, it's you, Haydn.
So my YouTube channel is just my name, so it's Haydn Reese Jones. Twitter is HERJUK, and also PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, and everything else is HERJUK. Email, probably just as easy to just send it to the standard one, which is podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. Don't forget, we also have our Facebook group as well, which you can join. And also there's our website, which is popculturegamers.podbean.com. And that's it for another week.
Yes.
So after we've recorded this, the most difficult thing is for us to decide what we want to call this show. Because we did have a bit of a debate last week, didn't we?
Yeah, it wasn't arguable, but you know.
It wasn't, but we did debate it for quite some time.
Yeah.
I did actually think of the perfect name for it, but
to be honest, I think the overriding thing should be is that whoever's hosting should actually have the say.
That would be good if you would actually, when you hosted, decide what you wanted to call it.
I did. And you went, no, I don't like that one. No.
Yeah, but I've done the same when I've been hosting as well.
Anyway, we'll decide that in a minute when we're saving the files.
Yes. So in that case then, have a good week and we'll see you next week. And it's a goodbye from me.
And a good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.
You are about to witness history in the making.